So we've just had our assessment team went in, assessed the situation. There is some fire impingement damage. I will say, let me go backwards and say that we have spoken to the owners of the company, and they're assisting in every way possible at this point. They are getting some outside experts to come in as we speak, and like the owners, all of us here, our thoughts are still out with the gentleman that has been injured. To the best of our knowledge, he is at the burn center currently. But our assessment team went in, and looked at the situation. It is still burning. We have closed off every possible source, because what happens is you have the 30,000 gallon tank car, and there are 10 cars in that general area, and there are 5 tracks, of which I mentioned the 3 earlier. 3 have cars on them. We cannot move the cars at this time because we're not sure as far as the damage, what's happening, so we're trying to figure out what damage is there. Obviously we don't want to move them and have further problems. There is an operator. Again, the company's bringing an operator in to move them once we have a damage assessment and that we figure out that it's okay. We all sources leading from the tank, leading to the tank farm where they store this, have been shut off to the best of our knowledge at this point. At this point, we are burning off all the fuel that is in the lines that, between all the points where we've shut it down. Our specialists are telling us that in 3 hours, this fire should start to die down, which means all of the product is out of the lines. If we come back in 3 hours and the product is still burning like it's burning now, we have another problem that we're going to have to assess. There is no way to get the product out of the lines other than to let the product burn off. The product, just to clarify, is basically butane. Okay, so the common name is butane, which obviously is used in lighters and for home heating and whatnot. Again, we're not sure exactly how long we'll be here at this point. We know for sure that we will be here through at least dinner time. I'll let Lori address the issues with evacuations. At this point, again, we don't know the cause of the situation. We know that this is a business that gets these tank cars in and out several times a week. An accident occurred, an employee was injured. At this point, again, somebody else will have to come in after the situation is resolved and determine what the cause of it is. We're not exactly sure of who owns the tank. We know that the local company does not own the tank. The local company does own the spur line. It is not a Norfolk Southern line. Norfolk Southern brings the tanks in and they drop them off. We are looking, another situation is we have monitors set up around the perimeter to determine if the product is getting away from the location where we're cooling the tanks. The product, as it is currently in its current state, does not have odorant in it. So you would not be able to detect it if it was here right now, which is why we have what I mentioned earlier, the Safe Site system, which is a monitoring system. So we have basically hazmat monitors all around the site, letting us know that it's being contained. We are still cooling the tanks. The biggest concern is that we have some tanks that are classified as empty. As you know, as I mentioned earlier, it's not the liquid that burns, it's the vapors that burn. And when you have an empty tank, you don't have an empty tank. You have a tank filled with vapors. And that's a much more serious situation. We are cooling those tanks as we speak. We're having some issues with water supply. We're in a relatively rural area, so we're working on establishing a better long-term water supply. We are in boil water advisory in Mount Joy at this time, just because of the fact of the water and the drawdown on the water. Again, at this point, the evacuations that we requested are all still in place. There was one exception. We have one company that has livestock at the far end of the situation that we allowed them to come in and feed the livestock. Lori, I don't know if you have something to add on the evacuation.
At this time, until we are sure that things are returning to a more normal state, we're not going to lift that evacuation. So Route 230 does remain closed. Lancaster County Bible Church is located on the Mannheim-Mount Joy Road, and they are available to anyone who needs to seek shelter there, who may not be able to return home from work. The Red Cross and the Lancaster County Emergency Management Agency are working to get resources to that site So anyone who is within this Route 230 corridor that has been evacuated or is at work and wanting to return home and is not able to get to their home, please feel free to go to the Lancaster County Bible Church, and there will be some resources and individuals there to meet you and assess what your needs are. We will open these roadways when we feel it's safe, but we don't want to open a roadway, return people to their homes or businesses, and then a half an hour later reverse that. So we want to make sure that everyone is safe. Safety priorities are the highest for the responders and for the community.